We were already kind of just mentioning Toy Story 5 a second ago and the unbelievable opening weekend it had. Not only was it by far the biggest opening for any movie this year so far with $160 million domestic opening, but it was also by far the biggest opening weekend in the Toy Story franchise. Fifth film, 3 decades in, and it's still just killing it. Well, lest you think that was just it just had a big opening weekend. Well, apparently it's more than that because it just had its first Monday. And according to the story in Deadline, Toy Story 5 soars to the best Monday of any film this year, making $17.3 million. It goes on to say this: Disney Pixar's Toy Story 5 had a great Monday with $17.3 million at the domestic box office. So great that it's the best Monday we've seen so far at the 2026 box office, ahead of Super Mario Galaxy's first Monday, April 6th, which did 16.8. And of course, you guys remember that movie went on to cross the $1 billion mark. So good for it, and kudos to it. So it wasn't just people wanted to rush out and see it immediately. Even on the Monday, this thing looks like it's going to have legs. Now, I don't know that this movie's going to have Zootopia 2 legs. Remember, Zootopia 2 opened to $100 million. Toy Story made much more. But Zootopia 2 had the kind of legs that it became the highest grossing animated film of all time at $1.8 billion with a $100 million opening. I don't know if Toy Story is going to have those kinds of legs, but it certainly bodes well that its opening weekend was that big, that its Monday was this good. So, Rob, let me ask you this. What is it about this Toy Story franchise? Like, when some other franchises, once they get to a certain number in their scale, they're like, oh, maybe people get tired of it or it doesn't feel fresh anymore or whatever. What is it about Toy Story, and maybe even Toy Story 5 specifically, that has the audiences running out to see it opening weekend, still coming out to see it on its first Monday, to the biggest Monday of the year? What keeps them coming back, and how big do you think this thing can ultimately be?
Well, what's interesting to me is that what keeps the Toy Story franchise vibrant, John, is the fact that the talent that they keep on these movies, once again, you bring back Andrew Stanton, one of the great Pixar directors, to come back and direct a 5th movie in a franchise. You seldom get the director of the first movie of the franchise that made it into a franchise in the first place to come back and do the 5th version or the 5th iteration of that franchise. And Pixar doesn't skimp. You get the A-team on these movies all the time. So you're getting the greatest talents at Pixar's disposal to come back and make these films. They look at them all as not sequels. They're all standalone films, even though they have numbers behind them, that have to live and die and justify their existence on their own. And this is their preeminent, premier, top of the line, Tiffany standard, gold standard, call it what you want, franchise. And that's why they're all so good. And that level of quality, that looking at, a lot of people look at sequels kind of throwaway. I mean, that's changed now in recent days because a lot of sequels outgross the original, but that wasn't always the case. In this case, I don't think the Toy Story franchise, they're not considered sequels. They're just considered another Toy Story movie, and if you're going to do a Toy Story movie, yes, we have to call them 5 so the audience knows. We'll put a number there, but internally, these are their own things, and these have to stand as the very best Pixar can do, and they always kind of have. Now, you might not like Toy Story as much as Toy Story 4 as much as Toy Story 3, but even Toy Story 4 was an excellent, beautifully made, handsomely mounted film that could stand on its own. If there were no other Toy Story movies and you just had Toy Story 4, it would still be considered a great animated film. And I think that it's that attitude and it's that quality and it's that commitment to excellence that Pixar brings that keeps audiences coming back. And the proof is in the pudding. What other franchises rolling along this healthily at the 5th iteration of it?
And it's going into its fourth decade, by the way.
Yeah.
Brian, you see the numbers it's pulling in are just off the charts. They're remarkable. They're on record-setting paces. What do you think it is about Toy Story that, like, being this old, being around this long, I'm sure there are people watching this show right now who weren't even born when the first one came out, and has people coming back so frequently and so often?
Well, Rob touched on it a lot, and it always comes down to storytelling, right? Like Toy Story has evolved with the audience. It's grown. Look, this one is about like this idea of the threat of tech and how many families who grew up watching Toy Story when there was no such thing as an iPad that ever existed are now battling the iPad with their kids. And you talk about 4 decades, right? Rob made me laugh inside because he's like, "What other franchise has lasted this?" I internally I'm laughing and giggling, saying Fast and the Furious, but Fast and the Furious is not like Toy Story at all.
No,
right?
but I would say the 5th Fast and the Furious movie is the masterpiece of that franchise.
Ooh, very good, very good. So maybe five's a lucky number right here, right? We got 5 on it, but man, they have been patient with Toy Story. I remember even Toy Story 1 hit and Toy Story 2 came out. I feel like those came out within 3 or 4 years together, and then it felt like there was a gap. Toy Story 3 showed up, and then that was probably, in my opinion, one of the most emotional ones. Like, I remember crying in that last scene. I was like, holy crap. I'm still pretty young at that time. And so now you have Toy Story 5, which is completely taken that person who emotionally invested in those characters after those 10 years, 30 years later. My God. And the storytelling is still incredible. So then they've delivered. When you can deliver and, like you say, assemble the A team, it's hard to deny it, even when there's a huge gap in time.
Guys, question is for you. You've seen the numbers now. The numbers are just absolutely unreal. Even after that huge opening influx of money on its opening weekend, it's still carrying on with over $17 million made on money, which makes it the biggest of any film this year. Box office results for a Monday at all. Why is it that Toy Story is able to generate this kind of interest and get this many people keep running out to go see it, even more than 3 decades later? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.
Someone said chapter 5 in the Star Wars saga was Empire Strikes Back. So it must be a lucky number 5.
I like that. I like that. I like that.
That is not how we count the Star Wars movies. Just so everybody knows, that is not how we count.
Did Final Destination get to 5? Did Final Destination get to 5 yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was the 5th one the most recent one?
Was that the most recent one? Because, man, the most recent one was so good. Scream 5? No. What is?
I guess it's not an absolute.
No. There's exceptions to every rule. There's exceptions to every rule. All right, guys.
Definitely not
that down.
5.
Guys, we want to take a second and thank a sponsor of today's video, Hims. You know, one of the hardest things about trying to lose weight is just figuring out what actually works. Because we've seen them all. There are a million trends, diets, and gimmicks out there. And honestly, it can get overwhelming. And that's why weight loss by Hims really stands out. Hims now offers access to an affordable range of FDA-approved GLP-1 medications, including the Wegovy pill at its lowest price ever and the Wegovy pen. With Wegovy at Hims, lose up to 20% or more of your body weight when combined with diet and exercise. It helps you regulate your appetite and eat less, so success is within reach. Plus, Wegovy is the first ever and only GLP-1 available in a pill for weight loss, so there are no needles needed. And the process is extremely convenient. Everything happens online. You connect with a licensed provider who determines if treatment is right for you, and if prescribed, your medication gets delivered right to your door. No insurance necessary. Ready to reach your goals? Visit hims.com/Campea to get a personalized, affordable plan that gets you. That's HIMS.com/Campea. hims.com/Campea. Based on advertised cash price for 30-day supply of medication only. Membership required, fee not included, and billed separately. Weight loss by Hims is not available in all 50 states. Wegovy is the registered trademark of Novo Nordisk A.S. To get started and learn more, including important safety information, Wegovy clinical study information, and restrictions, visit hims.com.